Lishma Loshen, Tzemach Tzedek brings in relationship to this, that this was a Loshen. This was the expression Mimerenu v'Rabbeinu Nishmas Yedin from the Alter Rebbe, Bidvekusi, when he was in a deep meditation, concentration, Shal Yemer Bezeh Loshen, he would say in this expression, Ich will zeg, I'll first mention it in Yiddish and then translate it. Ich will zeg gar nicht. Ich will nicht dein Gan Eden, ich will nicht dein Elam Haba, ich will mehr nicht als dich allein. The Alter Rebbe would say, I don't want anything. I don't want your Gan Eden, speaking to Hashem. I don't want your Elam Haba, world to come. I want nothing besides you alone. The Hine Yodua, it is known, the Rebbe comments on the wording, expression of the Alter Rebbe, Shadibure shel Admur HaZoken hoya meduyik betachas hadiyuk, was precise in the most accurate way. Kol mila v'teva, every word. V'alachas kama v'kama shematikim ze'achakach. It was later written, recorded. It wasn't just an emotional feeling that he expressed himself. And especially that it didn't happen once, it happened many times. Ubefratsha zehoya bidvikuse, when he was in a state of meditation, a connection, that he was cleaving to godliness. So the Rebbe asked the question, it's not understood, what is the intention in that the Alter Rebbe said, he didn't just say, I don't want Gan Eden, I don't want Elam Haba. He said, I don't want your Gan Eden, I don't want your Elam Haba. Maya Kavona, what is the intention? Beisofas Tevas Dain. What is the intention of saying Dain yours? So the Rebbe says that this is a deeper cleaving to Hashem and connection to Hashem. Va'abir bozeh, the explanation is, the gam mitzad inyan haGan Eden atzma yeshni kainu gotzon. Because of the Gan Eden itself, a person has a very strong pleasure. There's a lot of pleasure. As it is known, the mashal, the parable of the Baal Shem Tov, ala pasik tefillah liyoni chiyate v'lefnei avaya yishpech siche. That tefillah liyoni, pray to the oni, the prayer that an oni does when he prays and embraces. V'lefnei Hashem, for Hashem, he pours out his talk, his heart. And what is so the Baal Shem Tov asked the question, why is it a repetition? It says tefillah liyoni chiyate, that the Oni embraces, and then it says, L'fnei Hashem yishpech sicha, and he pours out his talk, his feeling to Hashem. Why is there a need to express it twice? So the Baal Shem Tov gives an interesting mashal, and the Rebbe puts in an interesting flavor in this mashal. When a person goes into the king's chambers and palace, because of the great treasures, the great treasures, quantity and quality, that are exhibited, that are displayed in the rooms before the king's chamber, when a person goes through all the different treasures of the king, he can actually sink into it. And he can actually cleave to it, that he can melt away in the pleasure that he has from these eitzes, these treasures. He never saw them before, to the extent that he forgets to go to approach the king alone. To the extent that he gets so sunk into these pleasures and treasures that he forgets he has to come to the king himself, which is sitting in the back chamber. So, that when it comes to an oni, it is not only kiyatef that he embraces, but lefnei avaya. He goes to the utmost. When a poor person comes into a palace, a poor person, it's not sufficient that he has the treasures. He doesn't know from anything. When he comes into the palace, he wants the king himself. So the question is why? Why is it that others become distracted by the treasures, and the poor person goes straight into the last room where it's the king's chamber? So the explanation that Rebbe gives on a different occasion is because a rich person, when he comes into the treasures, since he understands what these treasures mean, so he's amazed and he's excited, and he's completely mischieved by all these treasures. And Mameli goes from one to another, and he forgets where he is in the world. So finally he stops by something, and he doesn't realize the primary of everything is the king himself. A poor person has nothing. A poor person has, a rich person has something, so he can relate to it. A poor person has nothing. Since he has nothing, he wants everything. In order to get everything, he can't just get it with revelations. He wants the essence alone. How does he receive the essence when he speaks to the king himself? The Mele, he passes through everything, and he goes right into the king. And therefore, v'lefnei Hashem, she'tfilas ha'oni hi zeh gufe asher lefnei havaya yishpech sichei. By him it is connecting with the Eibishter's essence alone. She'netzorech ha'pchina, the essence of godliness. She'netzorech ha'pchina de bashamayim Gan Eden. The afilu dain Gan Eden, even if it's a Gan Eden that is obvious, that is Hashem's Gan Eden. Hainu Gan Eden k'meishanike b'shu shalach. What could be better? Is the Gan Eden of Hashem. Ve'netzorech gam le'elam haba. He doesn't even need elam haba, which is a higher level and a spiritual level. One is memala kolomen, the revelation that sustains the world, and one brings existence into the world. Elam haba.
The Alter Rebbe is like this poor dirt farmer who has nothing?
No, this is to understand the negeya. What does it say? This is to understand the pasuk of Tfilullah Nechiyate. By the Alter Rebbe, this was that with all the Giluyim that he had, he wanted Atzmos. There's two ways to come to that. There's one way that a person that is well versed in all the Giluyim, and he says, this is not the Tachlis. This is not the ultimate goal, all these revelations. The Oni is the other extreme, that because he has nothing, he wants to jump right away to the other point, which is the utmost. So there are two different inyanim. By the Alter Rebbe, this was that he realized all the Aveda and everything that he's reaching are all Giluyim. It's not Etzem alone.
But the mashal, you said.
The mashal is to understand the pasuk. So therefore, because the Alter Rebbe wants to bring out the answer to the question, why is it called your Gan Eden? So the mashal is because the Yid, or the poor person, wants the king himself. The treasures are all from the king. They're in the palace of the king, and he's going from one room to another. He's being mesmerized by everything he's seeing, but still it's not the king himself. So this is why the Rebbe uses this mashal. But mitzad the mile of the Alter Rebbe was past these revelations, and so this is still not the etzem.
Also, this idea, because he has nothing, he wants everything. Why is that? Because he has nothing, he could get just as well overwhelmed by the treasures on the way, because he has nothing.
B'saso, but a person wants to catch up to something. He's not going to just climb one. He feels deprived. He feels, now I want to get the most there is in the world, because I was in such a situation for a long time. There is such a thing. Al derech, like we say, we can actually also say it, explain it in these words, evyin. Rashi says, what is an evyin? Toiv l'chol dover, to everything. So toiv l'chol dover means anything, but toiv l'chol dover means everything. He's like a vacuum. He's ready to take in everything.
I understand the story, but I was thinking of the same thing as toiv l'chol dover. However, in the mashal, he's trying to explain why it's a dying Gan Eden, right?
Right.
But in the mashal, you could see it's just the opposite. A rich person is not so impressed by the treasures. He has treasures himself.
When he sees the king's treasures and he has a mevinus, what treasures is, he's not going to just run through it.
He also has
but because he has a shaykhs to it, and because it is higher than his thing, Misha Yeshli Mona Reitzim Asayim.
Right.
So B'meila, he has a desire for these treasures because he did not see everything yet.